Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
Welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. So today today's episode is brought to you by me,
Barbie.
So go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
So today's story is going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
I
don't know nothing about this.
There's a few things that I want to start with. We did try a new cafe.
Yes, we did.
And I want to give it 5 stars on Yelp because it is actually really good. And it's
good.
Instant coffee.
It is.
So we did a café de olla from
Nescafe, right?
Nescafe.
Yeah.
And go try it out. It's good.
It's banging. For instant coffee, it's good.
But anyway, back to the story. We did have to in TikTok to see how everybody was making it. It was really cool though because it did help a little bit.
People try different things. So we were like, what? I wouldn't think. Somebody put condensed milk.
I don't know. I really think that sounds good. I put condensed milk in my coffee before.
I haven't.
I made my daughter a creamer de horchata creamer, and it was done with condensed milk. So I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, so that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Number 2 of the things, I want to welcome anybody that is new to our podcast. This week has been very enlightening, and we have been so grateful, and it's just been a little bit of, I don't know, I feel like it's not real, you know?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Because things happen and you're like, is this legit? Like when you think and you say, is this legit?
Because people be scamming out there, you know?
Yeah, which they do. But there's also very nice people out there.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everybody that is new.
Or that sticks around.
That sticks around. Our 5 followers are now to 6.
Yeah.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Anyway, so this story, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different because we already know the killer.
Okay, in the story?
In the story.
Okay.
We know who did it. We know that he's in jail.
Okay. Prison?
So he's actually in prison and he's awaiting his trial.
Oh, this is current.
This is current.
Okay.
We're going to be starting to talk about this. He's on death row.
Okay.
Okay. So he's on death row for the kidnapping and murder of 2 men.
Oh, damn. Okay. How do you do that to 2? Oh, I'm stupid. I'm thinking like he did it at the same time to 2 men. No, you do it to one and then al otro, right?
That's kind of what happened.
Okay.
So let's get started. So his name is Clinton Lee Young, and he is from, actually, we're staying in Texas again. Mm-hmm. He was 19 years old when this happened. Okay. Well, 18, 19, basically. And he's from Midland, Texas. So do you know where Midland is at?
It's far, right? Is it over there by like Lubbock or some shit?
You're right. So actually, I had a friend of mine that her dad, I don't know if she listens, but shout out to my friend Claudia. Her dad would drive to Midland and he was a truck driver.
Yeah.
And we would call him Tito. Anyway, but Tito was a truck driver in Midland. And so I was always like, where's Midland? But she would always be like, oh yeah, he came down from Midland. So I had no idea, but I did my research. So it's actually in between Fort Worth and El Paso. So they said that this is the home of former President George W. Bush and the First Lady Laura Bush. So this is where their hometown is. Mm-hmm. Not only were they born there, they still have their home there, and people can actually go and tour their home.
It's like an
attraction
or whatever.
Actually, another fun fact. So this fun fact is about me. Okay, so
it's me time.
Barb fun fact. I was named after George W. Bush's mom, former president, his mom, First Lady Barbara Bush. And the reason that my dad named me this, he was an immigrant. He came here, and my mom had named my sister. And my sister has like an artistic name, and she's named after my grandma. So, not an artistic name. She's named Vanessa Mayonesa. But anyway, don't get me started on that. But like Vanessa, we would call her all kinds of shit. So he wanted to name me something that it was easy for people in America to say, and that it was also easy for you to say in Spanish. And currently at that time in 1995,
1986,
whatever. George W. Bush Sr. was president and his wife. But
First Lady at the time.
And he liked the name, so he named me Barbara, and he thought it was very strong, and he knew that his daughter was going to be
tall,
strong. Like a powerful name.
Yeah.
So that's what my sister said, that's what my dad told her and my grandma. So
yeah. And there's like famous people. Ana Barbara. I mean, she's an artist. But you can hear it in Spanish too. Like
you can hear it in Spanish and that was
in
his
English.
Whole thing.
Yeah.
And
you can do both.
At first I was kind of like, dude, why? Like out of all the names, pero me quería poner Deborah. You imagine me as a Deborah? I don't think so.
You're not. I can't see you as a Deborah.
You know? So I'm like, okay, Dad, you didn't do too bad. And he came over this weekend and I asked him and he's like, pues que tiene, me gustó. I'm like, okay, Dad, whatever.
I was just asking.
Yeah, he doesn't like me questioning my name. He thinks it's awesome. So the murders happened on November the 24th of 2001.
Okay.
Clint was in the car with three other individuals. So at this point, we have 3 people in the car plus himself. That would be David Lee Page, Darnell McCoy, and Mark Ray. That's his name, Mark Ray. According to what Clint states, they were going to buy some blunts, some weed, and they were in the car with just everybody together.
There were 4 of them in the car. There was a
5th person.
Okay.
And there was a driver.
Okay.
So there's a driver, which his name was the first victim, 41-year-old Doyle Douglas, and he was in the driver. And then it was Clint.
In the front seat.
And then the 3 other guys in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where we're at. They were in a 2-seater white Pontiac.
Oh.
Okay. So this is important because 2-seaters, you remember those cars that you used to have to flip the side y te hacías para adelante para poder subir, right? Yeah. Like I said, Clint is in jail. He's awaiting his death, basically. So what I'm bringing into the light is what happened and if everything that was said is truthful. Basically, is what I'm trying to get. If you can
gather from the research.
What I can gather, okay? So they were interviewed individually. Darnell stated that he was in the back seat in the middle of the middle seat. According to what he's saying, it was one of the guys, which is David Page, him, and then Mark Ray. Right? This is how he was saying. Yeah.
Not that are they all around the same age?
They're all around the same age.
Minus the driver, who was 41.
He's 41, and
the other kids were like, what, 19, 20?
19, 20. Yeah, they're all around the same age, and they're on their way to buy weed. I guess they needed a ride or whatever.
Yeah.
So Darnell was getting interviewed. Clint is like, no, he's lying. He was not sitting there. He was sitting on the side.
On one of the window seats.
Okay. So this is important because you'll understand why in a little bit. It gets kind of confusing before it makes sense. So Clint stated that he was able to turn back to him and speak to him. So he's like, I was able to turn back, so I know for a fact that he was behind me.
Okay.
Mark Ray also stated that he was sitting in the middle seat. So now we're bringing in Mark Ray's testament, Darnell's testament, and Clint's testimony. Interview. You know what I mean. Anyway. So then, ¿ya me entendiste, no, güey?
Oh, my neck hurts.
Es que en español es testimonio.
No. Yeah.
So anyway. Se me salió my bilingual self. Anyway. So Clint's insisting that Darnell was in the seat behind him.
Okay.
And Mark Ray was sitting next to him. And then it was David Ray. David.
So Mark, it was in the middle seat.
According to everyone but Darnell, he was sitting.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired.
Stay out! You gotta go on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
Darnell is saying that he was in the middle seat. Pero Mark is saying que no.
And Clint.
And Clint is saying que no. Okay.
So the reason that this is very important is about to come up now. So Clint states that even though he even remembers that the song that was playing on the radio that day. He's like, I remember everything because I don't know if everybody's memory was different or to your convenience, right? Mm-hmm. So he said it was Superman by 3 Doors Down. That was the song that was playing. Okay. So Darnell stated that David Page gets out of the car. So David Page, remember, he's the one that's at the corner.
He's behind the driver.
He gets out of the car and he was on his way to buy the weed.
Okay.
So when he went back over there, according to them, there was nobody there to buy the weed. He comes back, and when he's on his way back, Clint shoots Doyle. So Clint, remember, is on the front seat. Passenger. He shoots Doyle, which is in the front seat driver, and he shoots him from there, saying, I'm so sorry, I have to shoot you, Doyle. And he shoots him.
What the fuck?
So he said that Clint had the gun under his shirt, like como que estaba escondida under his shirt, and that he shot him from his lap. That's exactly what Darnell told police in Midland. Doyle got shot twice in the head. Then he also said, Darnell, that Clint and David Page, which is the one that was outside, took Doyle's body out of the car and put him in the trunk. Okay. Then I guess David Page jumps in the driver and they drive off. So Clint said that all that he was thinking, Clint is like, hey, damn, man, this guy's shot. According to Clint, he did not shoot Doyle. He's like, I did not shoot him, but someone did. At this point, we don't know who shot him, right? So he's thinking, hey, there's some shit going on. What the fuck are we going to do? You know, he's young. He already had a past of being a little bit violent. He had a past of being in trouble, you know, trouble kid. He's like, I had no idea. He just saw that David Page shot the man. So
Darnell... No.
Clint is saying David Page shot the man.
Right. But Darnell is saying that it was Clint. Mm-hmm. And
so,
what are the other two guys say? I mean, I'm sorry.
The other guy. Mark Ray. We'll talk about it in a minute. So they take the body out of the car. They put him in the trunk, right? Clint said that he was just like, fuck, what the hell are we going to do? You know, why did he shoot him? He has no idea. So how am I getting all this information? There was a filmmaker, and her name was Jessica Villeris. It's Villarrelis, Villeris. And she comes to America. She's Dutch, and she wants to make a film about Clint's case, or about people that are in death row. Mm-hmm. So she finds out about Clint's case, and so she starts making like a documentary or docuseries about him. What was his story and that kind of thing. So this was in 2017. Right. So by this time, Clint has been in jail since 2001 to 2017.
So they went to, everybody said it was Clint.
Everybody said it was Clint.
They went to trial found him guilty.
Found him guilty. Clint's in jail for
prison.
He's
on death row.
Excuse me. He's on death row. At this point, she's like, well, let me help Clint. Right. Mm-hmm. So let me figure out what happened. So she starts talking to experts, and it's like, hey, you know, could this be possible? They set up a way how everybody was sitting. I mean, there's a whole, like I said,
reenactment.
And the person that was sitting, the person that was giving the instruction, he's obviously Texan. Everybody's real like with Texan accents. And they ask him, hey, is it possible for the passenger side to have shot Doyle or his gun from the driver's seat and
from the lap, right?
From his lap, and hit the actual victim on the left-hand side.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. At this point, the actual arms or like arm gun specialist is like, there's no way. There's no way that someone that is sitting down can shoot somebody on the left-hand side of his head with a gun.
From his lap. I mean,
he's 18 years old, not even, and then they
19.
asked him, 19. Well, at that point, he was 18 or whatever it was. He had just turned 19 when he went to actual jail. You know, it takes time or whatever. So he's like, there's no way.
Bro, but you don't even need an expert for that to tell you that. I mean, I think that's pretty fucking, if you read.
Well, you're right. But let me explain why. He's like, yeah, you can shoot somebody in the head.
From your lap.
From their lap. Yeah. But you wouldn't shoot them from there. He's like, from the angle that he would have been shot, he would have had to take the gun out. And by this time, like Darnell or Mark Ray would have been like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you shooting this guy, right? But there's no way that from his lap, he shot this guy and hit him on the left-hand side. They do eventually like put a guy like sitting down and everything. Yeah. Like they tried everything in every possible way.
Because, I mean, Doyle was sitting straight, right? I'm assuming here que estaba sentado just facing, you know.
Well, that's where the next thing comes up. So then they drive Doyle, mind you, he's in the trunk into the wood area. This is what Darnell said. Carried the body out of the trunk, and they dumped him in an area that had like a little creek, como poquitagua, like not a lot of water, but there was water. And according to Darnell, they put him face down because they said that if he wasn't dead, then he would drown. So
they wanted him to drown.
They wanted him to die. If he wasn't dead,
yeah.
So according to Darnell, Clint forced him, because they were all being forced to do something, to shoot the victim again in the back of the head.
Why? This is Darnell. This is coming from Darnell.
Okay. This is Darnell, right? So, excuse me. There is actual video of the interrogation that they did for Mark Ray. And it is so stupid because I'm so sorry. I know it's not supposed to be, but he's like not crying, but acting like he's crying. So you can't understand shit that he's saying. So they're standing in the woods. Y está I guess the detective and stuff, and he's asking them questions, and he's like, oh yeah.
He's a little bitch
like
crying.
literally bitch crying. Oh yeah, he told me I needed to shoot him, so I did what I did, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know where the fuck they got a pillow from, but apparently they had a pillow. What? I have no idea. I never could understand the pillow, this whole story. So according to what Darnell's saying, Mark Ray shot him twice because Clint told him to, right? So Clint is saying that he didn't have anything to do with the second shooting. Everybody else is saying that he did, that he told him to do it. So now they're saying they pulled out a pillow, I don't know, from their ass, I guess. I don't know where the fuck this pillow came in. And they used the pillow and they shot him in the back of the head. Para acabar pronto, the guy got shot again.
Right.
They just don't know who did it.
Right.
Okay? So all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe you shot him, because they're all like scared of Clint, apparently. And Mark Ray said that Clint told them that if they said anything, that he was going to shoot them and kill their family.
That doesn't make any sense.
Of course it doesn't.
I can't even fucking talk. Here's fucking 3 guys. One that's already dead, Barbie. But you guys are scared of this other guy? I mean, there's 3 of you. I'm pretty sure y'all could take him down if y'all wanted to. But he had a gun, I guess? So they were scared.
So here's the deal. That's something that the police obviously asks and says, hey, why were you doing that? If anybody, Clint is like, well, I don't understand why they're saying that they were scared of me if they all had loaded guns.
Oh, they all
had guns.
Oh, I thought, okay, there was just one gun. And Clint was like, here's a gun, shoot him again, allegedly.
No. Everybody had their own gun. And the reason that they find this out is because the gunshots, the actual bullets that were in Doyle's body, unfortunately, R.I.P. Doyle, were different. So the ones that were shot in the head were one kind, and the ones that were shot in the back of the head.
Which would kind of align with the story, right? Clint shot him one time, and then somebody else's bullets were found in poor Doyle.
And poor Doyle. He didn't have anything. He was an innocent guy.
Just driving,
and he was giving them a ride.
Wow.
So he had nothing to do with this.
Dude, what?
So then Darnell says, yeah, everybody was armed but me.
Huh?
Yeah. He's like, I didn't have a gun, but everybody else did. That's a lie, obviously. He described the guns that everybody else had while he was getting interrogated. Then he says, oh yeah, I was armed.
Why is he going so back and forth? His story's changing too much.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure all of their stories are going to be changing a lot.
We're going to get into it, of course. Now they're saying, what I'm trying to do is kind of paint the picture of what happened. And then I'll explain to you why everything is so fucked up. And honestly, to tell you the truth, it was just a fucked up situation. So they're driving off and they dropped off Mark Ray and they dropped off Darnell. Darnell says that they dropped him off at his house and then Mark Ray gets stopped off. Darnell said that Clint said that he was not done yet, that he had some more killing to do, is what he said. So now they're driving away and now it's only Clint and David Page in the car, in Doyle's car.
So David is being a little bit too quiet. Like, you really haven't said a lot about him.
I'm about to talk about him.
Oh, okay. So right now in the getaway car, it's David and Clint.
Yeah. So Clint said he had been high on meth for about 4 or 5 days. So he had not slept in a while. He said, I don't know why I stayed with David Page. I don't know what I was thinking, but he did. And he felt like he had no other way out. I mean, he was in a car with somebody that was shot. He was already on parole. He had already a lot of things. So he's like, I had no way out, right? Obviously, he had a way out, but according to him, in his mind, he didn't. Yeah. He's 19, 18 years old. Yeah. The only thing they thought was like, let's get out of East Texas. Let's get out of here, right? So Clint had been in some trouble, like I said. So he was doing drugs and, he was like, I'm scared to call the cops. They're going to come and get me, put me back in jail. They now stop at a Brookshire. So you remember Brookshire. Yeah. So
there's still some.
There's still some. We have some here. He now stopped to get gas at Brookshire's, and Clint's said he walked to go get a Sprite, cigarettes, sunflower seeds, but he left David in the car, basically, is what he's saying. Clint said he came out of the gas station, and when he came out, David Page was with another man.
Okay.
Sitting in a truck.
Not in the car anymore.
Not in the car anymore. So he's sitting in a truck, in a pickup truck, and he was talking to this man. And he's like, what the fuck? So he's like, hey, dude, what's going on? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he said, once I'm out of the gas station, Clint signaled to David, hey, come here. Like, let me talk to you, right? And so he asked him, hey, what's going on? And he told him, we need another car, don't we?
Oh.
And so he's like, what the fuck? Y que le dijo, let's just go. Y le dice, Clint, okay, well, let's just get out of here. So then they start driving.
In the same car?
No, el señor se fue con David, se fue con el señor, the new guy, in the white pickup truck. because according to David, they needed a new car because they needed to get rid of Doyle's car, right? So, and then Doyle's car está Clint, and he's driving behind the pickup truck. Okay. So here we are. David and that man that was in the truck, his name was Samuel Petrie. So Samuel Petrie is the one driving, apparently giving David a ride. People, stop giving, don't give people rides.
Hell no.
Don't do that, please. Anyway, so after a few miles, they dumped Doyle's car finally.
Okay.
So they dumped the car, and now they're all together in the pickup truck.
Like this man that's giving is giving these people rides. You're not a little bit sus. I'm like, hey, ¿qué le dijeron?
I have no idea.
I'm like, señor, we have to dump this truck. I mean, we have to dump this car.
I have no idea what he said to him. They don't really, Clint doesn't really specify.
Right.
Anything.
I'm sure it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because I'm guessing that at this point he's just trying to explain his story, you know?
Yeah.
So the three of the guys continue in Samuel's truck. Clint said that he fell asleep in the truck. As I told you before, he had not been sleeping, all this kind of stuff. He said he woke up to the gunshot sounds. So when he woke up, he jumped out of the truck. He's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And he said David Page was the only one standing. So when he got up, se salió, and he said, what the fuck? Why did you shoot him?
So he shot Sam.
So he said, what the fuck? Why did you shoot him? And he told him, it's because he knew my name.
Bitch.
Hold on. So then apparently, David had told the guy his life story. Like, le estaba diciendo de todo, de donde venían. Even Clint was like, he told him where we were from, where we came from, what we did, like everything.
Why'd you tell him your name? Why didn't you tell him a fucking give him a fake name?
Exactly. Clint and David started to argue because Clint says, hey, I felt bad for the guy. Like, he was just giving us a ride. Like, he was a
like
really
Doyle.
Nice man, whatever. He's like, you know what? Just get away from me. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Le dijo Clint, David.
Clint said, man, this is not gonna be good. He's like, I had a feeling that he was not gonna just leave it alone, right? So Clint said that David did tell him that he was gonna turn himself in, but he didn't know that he was gonna go back, and then he blamed everything on Clint.
Yeah.
So he told Clint that I know, pinche pájaro la verga. He said that he was being held hostage. He was being held hostage by Clint. Cuando se regresó y le dijo a la policía. So
he went back to Midland?
He went back to Midland. He said he dropped him off. Y que le dijo a Clint, I'm gonna turn myself in. But Clint was like, I don't give a fuck. Just get the fuck away from me. I don't care what you do at this point. So Jessica, we're going back to the actual docuseries or whatever they call it, had a meeting with David. Y sale David y le empieza a hacer like
y David también está en la cárcel?
He's in jail. Yeah.
Okay.
So and he started to question him. Y le dice, hey, like, what do you mean that Clint had you hold you hostage? Like held you hostage. He said that Clint dropped him off at the IHOP after the killing of Samuel Petrie. So he's like, he dropped me off, and he said he manipulated Clint to let him go. He's like, yeah, I outsmarted him because he wouldn't let me go. I was scared of him. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but...
Don't they have guns?
They all have guns, yeah. So then at this time, the police was trying to find Clint now. Because now they're like...
David le está
echando la culpa, and he ran. So he's like, I did run because I'm on parole, and I'm scared. I'm going back to jail, so I did murder. But he didn't know that he was getting blamed for murder. Like, él no sabía.
He just thought that they were looking for all of them.
Yeah, that they were looking for them. And I think that was something that the police was like, why the fuck did you run? You know?
Well, yeah.
But he's a kid. You know, like, once again, we go back to the same thing.
Like you said, he was on parole.
He was on parole, and he had a gun in the truck.
Yeah.
So he's like, dude, and I'm in a guy that's murdered's truck.
Yeah.
You know? So he did, and he was out of the city limits of where he was supposed to be. So he ran. There was a little small chase. They caught him. Mm-hmm. So at first, he's like, I'm not talking to no police, as they usually do. He's like, I'm not going to tell them anything.
You're like, no police.
No police. No le voy a decir nada a nadie. I'm going to keep it to myself. This is the code of the streets and shit, you know, whatever.
Snitches get stitches. Well, los otros, they're like, it was him.
Exactly. So he immediately asked for a lawyer, which is really weird because we never see this in these cases, that people actually ask.
From somebody so young.
Right? And so he's like, I immediately asked for a lawyer. So Jessica asked him, why did you not talk to the police?
And
like,
this was Jessica talking to Clint.
Yeah, this is Jessica talking to Clint. So then he's like, hey, ¿por qué no te entregas? Like, why didn't you just talk to them? Just tell them what happened. And he said that all he knew is that he knew the street laws and he was not supposed to talk to the police, right? Because snitches get stitches, como dices tú. Clint said that he told his mom, hey, go get Darnell. Right. Le dice que he was like truly like, Mom, go get Darnell because
He can vouch.
He'll tell them that I wasn't the truth.
It wasn't me.
That he wasn't the one that shot anybody.
Yeah.
And so then next thing you know, he's like, que le dijo su mamá, baby. Dijo, he's the one that went to the police first. Yeah.
After everybody went their separate ways and David and
he went
Clint.
to the police first and he blamed Clint on it.
I wonder. I mean, this is just, I'm sure we're probably going to get to it, but I wonder if was that the plan to just see how long they could go without.
I have no idea. Like, really?
I thought they were just going to like keep it quiet and they're like, si lo encuentran, lo encuentran.
Yeah.
But maybe people had seen that Doyle got in the car or brought those kids to, or drove them.
I don't know if somebody actually saw something and they brought it up and they brought him in for questioning. Did he just decide to go say something because he felt bad? I don't know what he did.
I don't think he felt bad.
I don't think so either, but whatever. So at this point, he's like, I'm in shock. Like, I couldn't believe that Darnell had said that when I was the one that...
And they were, I guess, close friends.
They were close friends. Yes, they were all close friends. Darnell was just... He was done. He said what he said and nobody questioned his statement and he was never charged even though he was an accessory to the murder. Yeah. He was like, okay, you're good, Darnell.
According to his story. According to Darnell's story, what he's saying.
What he was saying, he never did nothing.
Yeah,
pero
he was there.
They did let him go.
Wow.
Yeah, no le hicieron nada. They said, okay, bye, you're done. You can leave. And then, so at this point, the trial begins. Mark, David, and Clint are being charged with kidnapping and the murder.
Okay.
Okay. So Mark cries, like I said in the video, and he's like...
What is the kidnapping for? Like, who is that for?
Well, according to them, the kidnapping of... They were calling it a kidnap, I guess? I don't know. Of Doyle and of Samuel?
Okay.
I'm guessing that that's what they were calling it, but this is what their charges were. Mark does admit that he did lie on his statement eventually. And he says, yes, I did lie. And that he was the one that shot Doyle the last 2 times in the head with the pillow. So he got 15 years. 15 years. And then he was released in 2008 after only serving 7 years.
Wow.
Mind you, Clint is in jail.
On death row.
On death row. Okay. So David Page pleads guilty for kidnapping of the 51-year-old Samuel Petrie and is given only 30 years.
So he was 51 at 41?
Samuel was 51. Doyle was 41.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So it's 2 separate people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Clinton gets sentenced to death. For the murders of Mr. Petrie and Mr. Douglas.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, bitch, you're going to give this guy, which is David, you're going to give him 15, think about it, 15 years was given, for Mr. Mark Ray. He was given 15 years. Mind you, they don't know if the guy was even dead. Did the 2 shots actually kill him the second time? So then Clinton, like I said, he gets sentenced to the death. And then David Page pleads guilty. So they gave him a plea deal. And he got 51 years for kidnapping only. He didn't get murder charges, right? Now Clint is in jail for the 2 murders.
Prison.
And in prison. Why do I keep saying jail? I'm so sorry. So Clint is in prison for the 2 murders. Jessica continues her research, as I said. And the arm expert keeps telling her that the person that shot is actually getting into the car in the back seat, not the person that's in the passenger side. So because Jessica goes up to the guy and is like, okay, so if it wasn't the guy that was here, who actually shot this person?
Like,
right?
where does the trajectory of the bullet look like it could have hit?
Exactly. So then according to the expert, the only one that had the opportunity to actually shoot the victim was David Page.
Because he was coming back into the car.
He was coming back into the car. The reason is because, as I said before, the car was a 2-seater. So if you are going to get into the car, you have to lean forward.
Right.
To be able to let the person behind you get in.
Right.
Right. And whenever what they were saying was that when he did, he turned around and that's why Clint was able to shoot him on this side, on the left side. But there was, once again, the arms expert is like, there's no way that somebody that was sitting down and had the gun in his lap was able to shoot somebody all the way over here, even if they were turning.
If he leaned forward.
Even if he leaned forward. So then Jessica continues her research. And like I said, they tell her that the only one that could have done it was David Page, right? So Jessica did confront David with this information. And
I'm surprised he spoke to her.
I'm surprised too, but we're going to get to that. So when she's telling him, she's like, I don't want to, like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Like, she's like trying to be, because Jessica's like a small, like little lady like you. Like, she's really like cute and like blonde and she's beautiful. And so she's Dutch. So her accent is really heavy.
Yeah.
And then we have a heavy accent, or the Texans, the interaction with them. I had to read like, it was hilarious.
I kind of want to see it.
Yeah. And so then she's like, I don't want to like hurt your feelings. Like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
But I'm asking is, what happened. She was like, we've actually found out, we did research, and we know that Clinton was not able to shoot Mr. Doyle on the left-hand side. And he's like, no, he didn't get shoot on the left-hand side. He got shot on the right-hand side. And she's like, no, that's not what you said in your original statement.
Yeah. And that's not what his body, I mean, I'm sure. Yeah.
He's like, no, that's not true. And he's like, well, I don't know what happened until I was in the car. According to what he's saying, he was in the car and then Clint shot him.
But that's not what he said at first.
But that's not what he said at first, right? So then he tried to say that Jessica was lying. And he's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And then Jessica's like, no, bro, like, I have the paperwork.
Yeah, like we can back it up.
We know that he was shot on that side. And so then Jessica did tell him that, he was lying or whatever. And so he just sat there and was like, yeah, well, it happened this way. Y de ahí no lo sacó. His interview was kind of like a whole back and forth thing of why it happened, why it didn't happen. Like, he was trying to act like he was smarter than her, but she had facts and he didn't know what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Right? So they had nothing against Clint at this point, but he's sitting
on death row,
in prison on death row
to this day.
Hold on. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
On the second murder, there was no prints. There was no DNA
for Mr. Sam.
And all they had was David Page's statement. That's all they had. Right. So then David said that he was trying to save Mark. And that's why he lied about the original statement, was because he knew Mark longer and that he was trying to help him because he was his friend. And that's why he had said that the original time that they had shot him twice in the head was that. And the reason that comes up is because whenever Jessica's talking to David, he says that whenever they put the body in the trunk, he was moaning. So that means he was still alive. So now he's saying, oh no, Clint shot him again, meaning that you know what I'm saying?
He actually killed him.
He actually killed him, but they, like I said, they didn't say anything about how the body was the body moving, nothing. That's why this is a big thing, because at this point then Mark actually killed him if he wasn't dead. But nobody said that. There was no research done, nothing. So during the investigation, they had a polygraph test. And David did not pass the polygraph test.
But we know polygraph tests aren't really anything. So
yeah, which is fine. But the thing is, nobody brought it up in the trial. They asked him if he had killed somebody, and he said no, and that was a lie. And nobody, I mean, come on, dude, anything. We're gonna put this man in for murder.
On death row.
On death row. We're putting him in prison, and you don't even use that, right?
It probably wasn't allowed to be presented as, any type of evidence, because polygraph tests are not credible.
That's true. Okay, you're right. But the ballistics expert and the coroner reported that it was highly unlikely that the shots were fired from the passenger seat, and it was not mentioned.
Well,
in the
probably
trial.
For the coroner, it was probably in the autopsy.
In the autopsy
report.
Yeah. So you can actually, if you want to go online, guys, there's actually a picture of the autopsy report they have there.
Yeah.
Jessica and the gun expert again, because she's really trying. Because now at this point she's trying for Clint, because now it's turning into they have an innocent man and he's about to die. Yeah. Right?
I'm curious, do you know what made her, or how did she learn about Clint?
I think that I actually researched that, because I was like, how did she find, because she's Dutch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're going to come from, maybe she's already coming here.
She was already coming here, and I think that she was just researching. I did see somewhere that he actually wrote a letter to the Texas Department of Justice or something, asking for someone to help review his case. Aww. He wrote a letter saying, hey, I am innocent, and I'm on death row.
I know they do have like the Innocent Project and stuff like that.
Kim Kardashian and them, they have that. So then Jessica, again with the gun expert, they put this whole thing, they put this guy sitting down, and they ask they reenact again, and they tell the guy, hey, they tell the person, the dummy. They put him in a way where supposedly he's leaning on to get on, and he shot. And once again, he got shot in the shoulder, and the second time he got shot in the arm. And so then Jessica's like, okay, so then
I mean, it's a science.
Yeah, and that's what she said. This is science. Like, why was this not presented in the trial? Right? What is going on? And so then she's like, well, can you tell me? The only way that he could have shot him on the side that they're saying was that he's going to shoot with his left hand, and he's going around,
right?
Like
literally
around the corner
like that
to shoot him.
But if he was doing that, I mean, I'm sure that would have. The guys that were still in the car
exactly would have seen him.
Yeah,
like, hey,
bro,
dude, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you gonna shoot him? Right? Yeah. An expert was brought into trial,
and this was during Clint's trial.
And this is during Clint's trial, and said that the victim, what they were saying was that he was that he was shot inside the car. Right. This is what everybody in the car was saying.
Right.
But if he was, then the victim wouldn't have slumped forward into the steering wheel. So if he was shot by someone inside, he wouldn't have slumped the way he slumped. That means that whoever shot him was outside of the car.
So this is coming from the expert?
This is coming from the expert.
Okay. So he did testify that, or I'm sorry, or whoever this expert is.
Yes, he was in the actual trial. Yeah, that was done. But nobody gave a shit because it didn't help. David said again that he had no gun again, and that he did have Clint help him put the body in the trunk, and that he was so scared because he was scared of Clint. Mm-hmm. He keeps bringing up that he feared Clint, and that Clint was bullying them into doing everything. Clint at one point says that after that had happened and that Doyle was in the actual trunk, he was like, hey guys, what if we take him to the hospital?
Right.
Because he felt bad. And this is how we know that Clint did not want to do or whatever they're saying. And he tells them, hey, I think this was after, or not a trial or anything like that. He was just talking. And he says that he was like, hey, why don't we take him to the emergency room? And that everybody was like, no, they have cameras there. Like, they're going to see who did it, you know?
That reminded me a little bit of, I Know What You Did Last Summer. You know, when they run over the man, Jennifer Love Hewitt wants to take him to the hospital. And they're like, no.
Now, then we go back to David. David is saying that Mark and himself took the victim out of the trunk, and that Mark did shoot the victim the last 2 times by the instruction of Clint, and that he threatened Mark to do it, and that's why he did it. Mm-hmm. Right?
But they had guns.
That's not what they were saying, but yes, they did. Yeah. So all 3 of them, everybody had the same idea. Everybody was saying that Clint told them what to do, and they were scared of Clint. Now it's time for his verdict, right? So for Clint to get the death penalty, they had to prove that it was capital murder. Right? The prosecutor said that the motive was that Clint wanted to take the car and go see a girl, that they had to prove that Clint took the car and then needed another car to kill the other victim. It was just crazy. Like, I don't know how they were trying to make sense of this, right?
Yeah.
But no one in the whole fucking story of all of this that we just talked said that Clint actually owned a car. So why the fuck did he need another car?
Wow.
Yeah. He had his own car. So why would he need a car?
Right.
Nobody brought this up. Nobody says anything. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so weird. What year was this?
In 2000 and one?
No, but the actual trial, I'm sure, happened like a year or 2 later.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was like in
early 2000s.
2000s, yeah.
Who are these lawyers? Because, girl.
Let me get there. Clint actually, chuckles at this. He's like, nobody ever said that I had a car. I didn't need another car. Not only that.
And this was the second car because of Sam, right?
According to them, he needed 2 cars.
Yeah.
Not only that, but why did he need to kidnap another person to get another car when he had just put $10 gas
in his own car?
In Doyle's car.
Oh, in Doyle's car. Yeah, because
so
they stopped at the bridge.
Why would he need another car?
Yeah.
Right? So
it wasn't him.
There was no reason.
It was fucking Mark, right?
Exactly. There was no reason.
Right, he was with Mark? Yeah.
No, it was David.
I'm sorry. It was David.
It was David. There was no reason for him to need another person to kidnap now that he had Doyle's car. And so David said that he didn't know Samuel. David is like, I didn't know Samuel. I just picked him up. He was just standing there, and there was no reason for Mr. Petrie to die. Another one. So he just picked him because he was willing to give him a ride.
Yeah.
So according to Clint, I came out of the gas station and he was in anyway, it was a she said, he said, whatever. He said, she said, or he said, I don't know how the fuck you say it. The police actually never went to the gas station
to talk to
anybody. They never asked to see footage of cameras around there. They never talked to the clerk to see if they had seen someone inside. Because if Clint was inside and David Page was outside, then how the fuck
who talked to who? Right?
Who talked to Samuel?
Right.
Nobody was checked. Nobody was asked.
What?
And the only thing that they did was about 3 weeks after the incident, they went to take pictures. That's it.
3 weeks
after. What the? And not only that, but All they had was the information that David gave them.
It's just
they
word of mouth.
They ran with that.
And they got a verdict. And not just a verdict, bitch. Capital, death row.
Exactly. So after that, David does tell, he's the one that tells us what happened. So he says they went to go to a pump jack. I don't know if anybody out there, we know what pump jacks are because here, that's how you take the oil out of the...
I don't know what a pump jack is.
Oh, sorry about that. So a pump jack is the way that they take oil out of the ground. So when they make a hole so that they can go ahead and pump the oil out, which I'm not an oil expert here. I'm sorry if I'm fucked up or if I'm saying it wrong. So they use this pump to take out the oil and they're just, I don't know if you've seen them, parecen como little hammers.
Yeah.
So this is what he says. David goes out to the pump jack and all he says is that Clint told him, this is what David is saying. Again, he says, sorry, Sam, you must die, and then shoots him.
Sorry, Sam, you must die. Sounds like a movie line.
Yeah. In the interrogation, David said that Clint had shot Mr. Petrie twice in the right side of his head, and he was shot.
Why is he shooting people in the head?
But not only that, but he was shot, but it was on the left side of his head. So he can't even get his fucking sides right.
So it's the same thing with Doyle, right?
The same thing with
Like
Doyle.
he was saying when Jessica was talking to him, he was like, "No, he was shot in the right," and Jessica was like, "No, he was shot in the left."
Well, it was in this vicinity, he says, and then Jessica's like, "No,"
but that's for Doyle, right?
That's for Doyle, but
and
now this
Sam?
is for Sam, right? So he actually said, "Oh yeah, you're right," and then changes his whole fucking statement, and nobody tells him anything. Like, nobody questions it. Nobody's like, oh, okay, so now it's not the right, it's the left. Okay, sure.
What?
Or now it's not. Yeah. Like, nobody questions it. The police doesn't say nothing. They're just like, okay, cool. That's what he said. That's what we're going to roll with.
What?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, he was telling Mr. Petrie his whole life story. Right? So, we're going to go a little bit into this. He did the same thing. Like, he started telling everyone that he had made a deal when he was in jail. Like, empieza a get diarrhea of the mouth. And he just starts telling everybody, yeah, I got a plea deal and they're going to give me this much, but I'm going to get out in this much. And so a lot of the people that he spoke to in the jail actually come out and say that he did. Like, there was like some other felons that were in jail or in prison with him. And they're like, hey, he was out here saying that he had gotten a deal, but that he was the one that had shot this guy. Yeah. Like, he admitted to the murder and shit. So David was talking and everybody around him could hear. And I'm guessing that that's just kind of the person that he was. He was trying to hype himself up. So then they were like, oh yeah. And then I hid the gloves.
Oh, who said that? David?
Yeah.
To who?
To the
inmates.
To the inmates. And so then Jessica's like, what the fuck? Where did these gloves come from? He said that he took them somewhere else and then he told them that he had shot Mr. Petrie. Once again, he had done it. Right. He also mentioned that he made a plea deal because his lawyers had paid off the district attorney.
What?
Yeah. Which I kind of believe, but don't believe. And let me tell you why. Because where the fuck would he he was the same social status or money wise as Mr. Clint was.
Yeah, but I don't think a lawyer, your lawyer goes that hard for you that you have to buy off the district attorney.
So he said he was only going to get 30 years and get out in 15, and then that Clint would get the death penalty, right? At this point, David also said that he was not going to get caught. He was also telling the people that he wasn't going to get caught because he was wearing gloves and they didn't have any DNA on him. So Jessica asked him, hey, did you wear gloves? Y le dice él, yeah, I was wearing gloves. I bought some that day.
Como si nada.
Y le dice ella, okay, well, were you wearing the gloves while you were in the truck? Y le dice, yeah, because I was cold. My hands were. So we never hear mention of these gloves.
I was about to say, this was never brought up in trial or algo?
As we know, we had not been hearing about it. So Clint said, so we're back to Clint now, keeps telling them, hey, he was wearing gloves. Hey, there's some gloves out there. He took them off. He threw the gloves. I didn't kill the man. My DNA is not going to be on there. Take my DNA and test me towards the gloves. And the cops were like, or the detectives were like, what are you talking about? There's no gloves, right? So it took them about 2 weeks for them, after him asking, for them to go actually back out to the crime scene. And they found the gloves. Yeah.
But he was already in prison.
He was already in prison, but he's like, take my DNA, take my blood, whatever it takes, just go and check it against the gloves because I was not there. And yeah, they found the gloves. And you can actually find a picture of the gloves online. Mm-hmm. And they did send them for testing. And there was gunshot residue outside of the gloves. but not in the inside of the gloves. There was not gunshot residue because you would think they were wearing them. So Clint's new lawyers had them tested, and the inside of the gloves, they only had one type of DNA, and it was David Page's. So there's only one DNA inside these gloves. Now we're going into the new lawyers. The new lawyers are trying to help Clint get him out of jail, whatever. So before the trial, Clint's lawyers, apparently, I didn't know this, but anything that's going to be charged to the or the person that they're charging with whatever it is, they have to have a whole report of what they did, right? So they kept asking the lawyers of David, hey, did you guys offer anybody a plea deal? Was there any plea deals offered? And under oath, everybody, all of the lawyers and everybody was like, no, there was no plea deals offered. There's nothing offered.
Yeah.
But whenever Clint found a new lawyer and he went through the report, he finds out that not only did they offer David a plea deal, they actually offered Mark Ray a plea deal too.
What the hell?
Yeah.
They just wanted somebody to go down for it.
Yeah.
And everybody, I guess everybody just, but why did everybody just decide to blame Clint?
I guess they were just
Scared of David?
Probably scared of David, or just scared of everybody going to jail.
Because David's, right? I think we can all assume here that fucking David shot Mr. Doyle and Sam. So I'm sure they were all just fucking scared of him because he had already shot two people.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? You're right. Because whenever Jessica asked David, like, why didn't you guys just fight? I mean, it was 3 of you guys supposedly that Clint was telling you guys what to do and shit. And why didn't y'all just fucking be like, no,
gang up on him or whatever? Yeah.
And he's like, no, because he had already shot 2 people. What makes you think he wasn't going to shoot us?
Right.
So then, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, since the gloves had been retested, and Clint's lawyer had new lawyers, obviously, and they did file a new motion 8 days before he was scheduled to be executed in 2017.
Oh my God, I got chills.
The board of parole stated that Clint could not be executed because of this new evidence.
Yeah. And it's science, bitch. That's DNA.
Bitch, that's science.
That's science.
That's Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
Like, for real. So there was an organization that was created. Initially, it was created to raise awareness about the case. And now it's focused...
8 days before his execution?
8 days.
I'd shit my pants.
So now it's focused on other cases to help other inmates that are having the same problem, that are saying that they were wrongly accused.
Right, yeah.
It's called the Clinton Young Foundation.
Oh my
You can
God.
actually find it online. I went on there and it tells you his story and it shows you pictures of him.
I pulled up his picture.
And there's also...
So they got David Young. I'm sorry. Not David Young, but
David Page? Yeah, they got him. He's in jail. He's not going to come out.
But they knew that it was him that did it and everything.
Yep. Well, now let me finish.
Okay,
then, along with the extensive work of proving that Clint was being wrongfully accused, it got a little bit messy after this because, they started asking, like, what happened, right?
To the police. Like, how did you guys fuck this up?
Exactly. So... there was some course of misconduct in behalf of the judicial system. People getting paid off and stuff. Allegedly. I'm not going to get into it because I don't know. I mean, we only have 5 people listening, but you never know. Yeah. I'm scared of that shit. So, but basically, somebody was getting paid off. They were trying to get somebody to
go down. Yeah.
And that's what happened, basically.
Question.
Yes.
Did he sue the state or something like that?
Not yet. No.
Oh,
not yet.
Okay.
Because let me tell you why. So, I mean, this was not too long ago. 2017 is not too long ago. By the time that they retrialed
he just got out
him,
in 2010.
By the time,
okay, yeah.
So, Clint was granted a new trial in September of 2021, Estela. Apenas.
A year? Like a little over a year ago.
Why? Because they had to go, it takes time. So this is why there's nothing that has been done, right?
Yeah.
And on January 21st of 2022,
wow,
he actually was released from the Midland County Detention Center.
Oh my God, today's the 21st.
Yes.
A year ago. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, he just got out.
After being posting bond. And that his organization actually helped people help them get him out. So he was out. And after his release, Clinton Young took off his left sneaker and his sock. And he said, and I quote, "It's not a win until my feet touch the grass."
Aww.
Mm-hmm. He also said he was on death row for over 20 years for a crime that he did not commit.
Right.
Just being able to touch the grass and look at the sun without looking through prison bars is a blessing. He was asked what his first meal was, and he said he wanted pizza, but his mom told him that he needed to have a better meal, so they took him to Texas Roadhouse. Bomb ass bread.
Yep.
Then he got home, and guess what he did? Bought himself some pizza.
¿De dónde?
Oh, he didn't specify.
Not that it matters.
So actually, now that I've done this, I think it's been probably about a few weeks ago. He actually got rearrested.
What?
Yes. So he got rearrested. He was out in, I don't know where, working, and he actually had permission to work there.
Yeah.
But he got rearrested because they need...
He was still waiting trial.
He's still waiting trial.
Right.
Like, he was on bond, but he was bonded again, you know, whatever it is. I don't know how all of that works, but the reason that I found this case... I hope that I did it justice. I'm sorry if it was too much, but the way that it was all presented, kind of like in past tense and then one person saying another. So I'm sorry if I didn't. But this just comes to prove that there is a lot of, you know, people make mistakes, you know, and people, it happens.
A lot of people on death row. Innocent.
Yeah, innocent people are on death row. And I mean,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
But you know, with new things coming out to light and that kind of thing.
Or like advances in technology.
Advances in technology, you know, I can't even talk. What I was trying to say, the reason that I found him was because I do follow this young lady on TikTok that she is a reporter for when people are getting executed.
Oh, wow.
So I follow her, but my sister, Vanessa, La Mayonesa, had sent me a TikTok and she said, look, check this case out. And so when I saw him, first of all, this guy is so handsome.
Yeah, he is.
He is so handsome. He has the most beautiful blue eyes. So this girl was out there and she's like, oh, look who's here or whatever. And she turns the camera to him and he's like, hi, you know, whatever. And he actually has his own TikTok. And apparently I haven't seen it. I didn't look him up, but my sister told me that he actually was able to take off his ankle monitor not too long ago. And he recorded that because he was like, I can't believe that this is happening.
Yeah.
You know, he was about to die.
Literally 8 days.
8 days. So he's trying to get his, you know, life back together and everything.
But like, I wonder like what happens if, I'm sure people have gotten, you know.
This happens.
I mean, people have had, you know, been killed by the state or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure people have been exonerated after they've been killed by the state. I wonder what happens
I've seen some, I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but I've seen some cases. There had a whole ass like Netflix series or Netflix something. It was on TV. I don't know if it was on Hulu or something like that. But they had one that people that were like innocent and they had been in jail for a long time. Mm-hmm. And they do sue and that kind of thing. And they try to get their life back together. But it's never the same. I mean, you've been used to like...
But I feel like cuando like, yeah, let's say que ya te moriste, like you get killed. And like I said, you get exonerated after you're already been killed by the state because you were on death row and the state kills you, but then you get exonerated, like your name gets cleared. Yeah. But then does your family sue the state or who's held as responsible? You know, like I wonder what happens. I
think I saw one, like I said, one of those episodes that I saw that one of the guys that they couldn't even clear his name, even though it took them like forever. Right. And then they didn't even want to, and they couldn't get it off of his record because it stays on their record, and so he couldn't get a job. Yeah, and, I mean, a lot of I don't know exactly how that works,
and I'm sure they probably try to sweep it under the rug. I know people sue the state and and all that stuff. And they get
money, and a lot of people do that. But it's still, I mean, I think I saw one of the gentlemen that I saw that happened to him was an African American, and it wasn't here; it was somewhere else, like in Mississippi or Louisiana, I don't know where, and it was like. It's something as simple as a phone call or like the landline or something like that. And to say that he was not at the area whenever that happened. And he actually was trying to get that off of his record and he could not get it off his record. And he's like, but I didn't do it. And, you know, and it kept just going back and forth saying that he had not done it. Basically, that was the story of Mr. Clint Young and how he was wrongly accused of double murder and kidnapping. And he
was almost executed.
Almost executed 8 days before.
He was released 8 days before.
I really do hope you guys take a look at it. And I think I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a different case. I really did. When I saw him, you can actually, it was stupid because they have a whole thing of handsome, like, inmates or whatever, which is stupid to me because I'm like, but he really is handsome. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, that makes no difference because, but what I'm saying is he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He did not do it.
And the people that did.
Was the case of...
Thank you for bringing that to us.
What do you think, Estela?
It was crazy. Like, and it's crazy that shit like that happens, you know, that people have gotten executed that were innocent, you know? And good thing that there are organizations out there that, you know...
That do help. And especially if someone that's saying, I didn't do it, and then that somebody
can
listens.
Prove it. Right.
Can you imagine, like, if you're just telling somebody, I didn't do it, and then they're like, yeah, whatever. You're crazy. You're lying. Yeah. But somebody that actually listens. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's, like you said, people out there, and we thank you for that because innocent people should not die for something that they did not do.
Right.
And this guy,
or be incarcerated for
and-
something that they didn't do.
And David Page, like, fuck you, motherfucker. You're trash. Because how the fuck are you gonna just blame somebody else?
And why do you think he shot Doyle?
Honestly, I think he was trying to, like, I don't think he wanted anything. Maybe to take his money. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. And I don't even know why he shot Samuel. I know why he shot Samuel because he knew his name and shit. But dude, why just... My deal is like, I really want to know. And I don't know if anybody else has this question in my mind is like, how the fuck are you just going to go ask people for rights like that?
And people...
Like, what is he saying? Like, was he offering like...
I'll give you $10. I'll give you 20 money.
Like,
I'll give you 20 monies. I'll give you $20.
Wow. But I'm like thinking, okay, did he offer them like something in return for that? Like, I really want to know. But there's nothing out there that's gonna tell us that.
Don't be giving people rides.
Please don't. And don't be trash, dude. Like, stop.
Don't be a David Page.
Don't be David. I don't like David Page. And he's so fucking...
You can say, ew, David.
Ew, David.
Yeah.
But not only that, when you see him, because we're going to post his picture, obviously, before on Instagram. So if y'all don't follow us on Cafecito and Crime Pod. On Instagram, if you don't follow us, please go follow so that you can see the pictures. And technically, he does look like a dick.
Yeah.
He has no hair and he's
That's what he gets.
That's what he gets. Y que se calle el hocico.
Nobody cares about your life story.
But actually, you know, I'm glad that he did that. Good thing for Clint, you know, that he did.
Que no se cayó el hocico.
Que no se cayó el hocico. But thank you so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and we'll see you
rest of your day.
The rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.